Detroit, Michigan, Rock City. It's a perennial hotbed for the coolest new offerings in gritty, loud music. And falling in step with this notorious reputation, Detroit is home to guitarist and Candyrat recording artist Sammy Boller. A former music student at the University of Michigan, Sammy catapulted onto the national radar in 2012 when Joe Satriani selected him as a winner in the Guitar Center's Master Satriani competition. Now an internationally acclaimed player, Sammy has amassed a large and loyal online following, and he earns his living as a full-time musician. Prior to embarking on his solo career, Sammy played guitar for the band Citizen Zero, their State of Mind LP, notching up multiple radio singles, including Go, Let Me Save You, which cracked the top 15 on Billboard's mainstream rock chart. Sammy also spends his time on the road riding shotgun with world-renowned amplifier whiz Dave Friedman from Friedman Amplification, and the two regularly embark on runs through the States and Europe to sponsor clinics and gear demonstrations. Sammy is also a contributing columnist for Guitar World magazine, and his online column Secrets of Shred with Sammy Boller has a loyal monthly following, regularly racking up view counts in the tens of thousands. When asked to describe his influences and approach, Sammy says, "My guitar playing has always been about plugging into an amp and blowing the walls down. I grew up wanting to be Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, but over time I've found my own dark and aggressive style. These days my dream as a musician is to make people feel as connected to the cosmos as I feel when I play the guitar. I'd love nothing more than that." Sammy, say hello.
Hey Mark, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on, man.
Great to have you on. Let's start by talking about your debut instrumental album, Kingdom of the Sun, which came out in March 2020, which I guess was perfect timing not to be able to tour to promote the album.
Yeah, as far as the release goes, it came out the first week of the lockdown in the States, which was a pretty crazy thing. Nobody really knew how long it was going to last and all that. So yeah, it was pretty up in the air. But after, obviously a few weeks, everybody was kind of realizing, okay, there's not going to be any shows for a while, So all my summer touring plans and all that kind of went out the window, But the cool thing about guitar is, a lot of the guitar community is online, So as everybody was like kind of trying to figure out how to get their music out there during the lockdown and quarantine, I just kind of did a lot of that stuff, like did a lot of online streaming concerts and videos like this, and it's been a good year, man. Like, even though obviously I miss playing live so much and not being able to tour your album after working hard on it, it's a bummer, but everyone's in the same boat.
Speaking of being on the road, been doing anything with Dave Friedman lately, or the fact that NAMM didn't happen, I guess that's all been put on hold too? Yeah,
it was a bummer not doing NAMM this year. We always have a lot of fun, but Dave and I are just really good friends, man. So other than just like talking on the phone, I know they've been really busy. Like a lot of gear manufacturers, a lot of people have just been at home buying equipment during this, at least, around here. So Dave's had a really busy year, but it's kind of hard. Like we would have a lot of fun, like going around touring and doing guitar clinics and stuff. Like he's helped me out so much, like having me be involved in all that. So it was a bummer not getting to do that the past year, but I just did a pedal demo for him a couple months ago now, but it was they just came out with a Friedman small box pedal, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, Dave's been doing well, man. He's just been slammed. I know the whole company has just been really slammed.
I've been in the Friedman booth at NAMM. I think it was actually the year, not last year, the year before. And it's a fantastic booth. You got to actually jam with one of your idols, Steve Stevens. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that's cool. You've been to the Friedman booth at NAMM. That's kind of like the place to be for a guitar, man. It's like they've got this setup where obviously you can just really crank up. They've got it like a sound ISO booth, which is always fun. Dave introduced me to Steve. We did a clinic at Chicago Music Exchange, and then we did one at Motor City Guitar, which is like the big guitar store in Detroit. He's like such a rock star, and it's amazing because he's also like a really down-to-earth, wonderful person, in addition to being just an amazing, legendary musician, But yeah, it was cool getting to play with him. That's the first time I ever got to like play on stage with somebody I really idolized, I got to go over to his house and like put work at the track and kind of like write a song together, and then we played it at the clinic a couple days later. So that was really cool. Getting to sit like face to face with somebody like that is really cool.
Yeah, and the other cool thing about the Friedman booth, especially when you're at NAMM in Anaheim, is it's like this beautiful air-conditioned respite from all the noise, and then you walk out and it's like chaos.
It's the cacophony of NAMM. For anybody that hasn't walked around NAMM, it's so much noise going on. By the time you could finally get back to your hotel, it's like, thank God, please don't put anything on the TV, like just having silence for a minute. But yeah, Dave's had me work the booth the past couple of years, so like we'd play a couple times a day, and then I don't know, people come in and really slam the amps, so it's cool, getting to hear so many amazing players come through there and play and try the stuff out. It's like getting to watch, you end up meeting so many amazing young guitarists and stuff. It's really cool. And then the other job I got last year was bartender. He's got a bar in there, so I was pouring drinks. That was my second job for the weekend or whatever.
So what inspired you to take up playing guitar in the first place? Was there a specific artist or band or a song, or what was it?
It's weird, man. Like, as long as I can remember, I wanted to play guitar. I don't really know why. Like, my parents are both musicians. Like, they were on the road together for a long time. So like music was always around the house. Yeah, they put me in piano lessons first when I was like really young, and I liked it. So it was cool, but I never really took it that seriously. But after I kind of discovered, I think the first two CDs I got when I was really young were the Best of Kiss and I think like one of the Who albums, I think like Who's Next or something. I got them on the same day, I remember, and just being like, I want to play guitar, please, please give me a guitar. And we had like acoustics around the house, so my mom showed me a couple of chords and stuff on acoustic, but finally, after begging for like a lot maybe like a year or so, we had a garage sale, and I used the cash that I got from that to buy an electric. So that was kind of the beginning of it for me.
How old were you?
I think it was 10, like probably 10 or 11. I forget. I should really figure out what summer it was, but yeah, I think it was about 10 when I finally got an electric guitar. Yeah, and I played, my mom showed me how to play Day Tripper, like the riff, and like Smoke on the Water. And I played that just the whole summer, like just over and over and over. And finally, my parents were like, please God, you can learn other songs. Like, it doesn't just have to be, so that kind of started it for me, like actually learning music, transcribing stuff. And
so as you sort of progress from Day Tripper and Smoke on the Water, which, as we all know, has been banned in every music store on earth.
Yeah, exactly, for a reason.
Who are your influences from then? Like, who are your guitar gods?
Yeah, I think the first one, my dad showed me Van Halen, and like when you're really young and you hear something like that, that's like a huge thing. I just became obsessed with Eddie. Just trying to learn everything just trying to figure out everything he did. It's I was just obsessed with Van Halen. And yeah, that's like how I would say I like initially learned, was trying to figure out, like, slowing all that stuff down, trying to figure out what he was doing, watching all the videos I could. I feel lucky because like when I was really first starting to learn how to play, there was no YouTube yet, so I wasn't really exposed to that many guitar players. Like, I knew Eddie and like a few other people, but it's like it kind of forces you to be like really focused on one person at a time, as opposed to now where there's just you go online, it's everybody's just, there's so many amazing players. You can just go for hours and hours finding new people. But yeah, Eddie was probably the first one, and then after that, I saw the video for Crazy Train, and I just like fell in love with Randy Rhoads. So that was like kind of my second guitar god, I guess. But yeah, I spent years like only playing their stuff, But I think when I got in like later in middle school and early high school, that's when I started getting into like just other bands and like other guitar players. That's when I started getting into instrumental music, like Yngwie and Satriani and Steve Vai, stuff like that.
Your style is very, very original. And I can see the Eddie Van Halen influence in it, especially with the tapping. You do this melodic, almost ambient tapping. So you've taken the sort of whole tapping thing, developed your own style with that, and then it sort of goes through to screaming, overdriven, proper electric guitar music. But it's always very melodic and incredibly thoughtful. Do you think a lot of that's from the influence of Eddie and Yngwie and people like that? Or do you think there's a component of your own journey? Like, do you think other things have come from other places? Definitely not the same as Eddie. You have a very original style and sound.
Thank you so much. That's a really wonderful compliment. It means a lot. It's a great question. I think I'm not sure how to answer that, because like in your journey as a musician, the deeper you get into different artists and, music that you really love, and as a result it becomes a part of you, you know. Like for example, like with Randy Rhoads, like even though I was never alive at the same time as him, if you learn somebody's music and really, you know, internalize it, it becomes a part of you, and it's like you can kind of almost get to know the person, because a lot of the times with musicians, that's the most honest thing they do in their life, is what they write and what they play and what they compose, you know. So I think, you know, for me, I guess when I was young, like I was kind of like a clone of all the people I really loved. You know, it's like that's how I learned how to play. Is you try to emulate, you know, who you really like. And it's the same thing like when you're learning how to speak, you emulate your parents. You know, it's like that type of thing. Music's, it's the same thing. When I started writing music is when I kind of took a total change of what I was doing, as opposed to spending a lot of time transcribing and trying to jam along with all the stuff that I liked. I had a producer tell me once. Like when I first started recording, I met this producer named Al Sutton. He's like a big producer in Detroit, and he was the first one to ever get me thinking about stuff like that. You know, he said to me, he's like, okay, well, you can obviously, you know a lot of riffs and different stuff, but it's like, but who are you? You know, basically, you know, it's like, okay, you know, you have to figure out who you are as an artist. And when you're young, that's, you know, nobody ever said anything like that to me before. So that kind of just took me down a whole different path, you know. I think it takes a lot of time, you know. If you play and play and play, it eventually you find your own voice, you know. But it just takes, you know, every day to trying to come up with something new, trying to come up with something that you love as much as the music you listen to that you really enjoy, you know.
I know it's very esoteric when you're young and someone says you need to find your own voice, because, I mean, what does that mean? From an objective point of view or from the outside looking in, you're really finding your own voice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What are you playing right now and why?
I feel really lucky. Like I have more guitars than I could have ever imagined. You know, I don't know. Just over time, you end up accumulating them. You know, but I probably would say I have like two main guitars. It's the black Les Paul that's behind the shoulder. Sorry, reversed. And then the Friedman guitar that's right next to it. Those are probably my two main axes that I play. I mean, I kind of grew up playing Gibsons, you know. But I also love, like, a lot of my favorite players use the Floyd Rose. So when I finally found that Les Paul that had a Floyd Rose on it, that was like perfect, you know. Right. And then the Friedman guitar I've had for the past couple of years, and that's an awesome axe too. It's kind of like the best super strat you can find, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I primarily play like different. My collection at least is mostly like different Gibsons and stuff. And my one quarantine find, it's right behind me, is this Telly. That's like an old Telly Deluxe that I've been like restoring. Yeah, that's an amazing sounding guitar.
If you had to just take one guitar, like a desert island guitar, what is it?
It's probably one of those. I could get by with either the first two I was talking about, that Les Paul or the Friedman. You can basically, for me, it's like that's all the features I need to do whatever, you know. It's the rest of it is it's just fun, you know. It's like, what could be more fun than having a bunch of guitars to choose from, you know. But those are like the ones where it's you can do the whole gig, you can get the whole gig on it, you know. I don't really, you know, I was talking to somebody yesterday, like I don't really like switching guitars during the show that much. Like some people love switching, you know, like if you go see Aerosmith or something, Joe Perry plays, you know, how many guitars a night? He plays one guitar just for one song, you know. But it kind of throws me off. Like whenever I have to switch on stage, it like takes me out of the zone a little bit. I don't know why. So I usually try to just stick with one, maybe two for a show.
I think a lot of it's show with some of those people that literally their guitar tech's coming out every song with a different guitar, and they're sort of ripping one off and putting another one on. I think a lot of that's maybe for the guitar geeks like you and I. So you can see, oh, he's coming out with a Rickenbacker, or he's coming out,
right.
You know.
I love that. I love seeing that.
I love it too.
Like at a show. Yeah, it's like, oh man, now he's got a 335 out of nowhere. It's like, wow, that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe one day.
Friedman amps. Are you sponsored by them?
Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, I use the model I use is a BE100. Like when I was young, trying to figure out and first starting to tour and stuff. Like right before we went on the road for the first time, I found a Friedman. It was like right when they were first coming out, and you could find them at stores, and that's just been perfect. I went through so many amps before that. It was just a mess, you know, like running them all kinds of weird ways, trying to get the sound I was looking for. But as soon as I plugged into that, it was like, well, that's it. That's everything. It's kind of like you said, like the Desert Island guitar or something. It's like, well, that's everything I need in one thing, and it's kind of just dialed in for it already. Perfect. Let's not think about it.
I noticed you have an old blackface Fender. What's that? A twin reverb or a super reverb?
That's a vibro verb.
Vibro
I'm really lucky. I have a friend, a buddy of mine named Mark Stewart is this amazing amplifier collector in Detroit. His collection is unreal. So he's let me borrow a couple. I've got a couple of Marshalls behind me, so I don't know if you can see. Those are his, but he's just let me borrow them and use them for recording and stuff. I love old gear, man. That's like another I don't know, affliction I have. It's just, I don't know. There's something about recording when you have all these old amps and stuff. It's just like, it's so cool. It's like you plug in and it sounds like all the records you loved, because that's literally what they were using. You know, it's weird.
And pedals? You a pedal guy? Would you classify yourself as a pedal guy?
I wouldn't say I am. You know, some people are really, really into pedals and collecting pedals, and I've got a decent collection now too, just from, you know, over the years. But I'm not a pedal distortion guy. Like a lot of people who get into pedals are big into the, you know, like getting a great distortion or, you know, classic overdrive. But I've always been like from the Van Halen school of getting it out of the amp. You know, so like the pedals I use now are just mostly delays, and that's about it. Dave hooked me up with this switcher, the switching system. It's by Musicom Labs. That's helped a lot, because instead of I'm sure you know, like having to do the pedal dance on stage where you have to hit two things at once, that would always throw me off. So this thing, it channel switches the amp and changes the pedals all with like one button. It's really cool. So that's mainly what I've been using. So my board looks big, but it's mainly just that and a few delays. That's mainly what I'm using.
So you got 101,000 subscribers on Instagram. Is that time consuming for you?
That's a great question. You know, I don't like spend a ton of time on it, but what I started doing, like, I think for a lot of people, it's like you just have to do it consistently. Like you have to post consistently. Like for me, I feel so lucky that people check out my little clips and stuff on there, and it's just a trip, you know. But for me, it's like I started using it more as like a journal. Like whenever I'd come up with a riff, I'd just take a little video and put it up. I just feel really lucky. Like initially, like I got featured on a couple different pages that had a big following, and that kind of like helped kickstart it. So by the time, basically my goal with it, once I realized like it was starting to go a little bit with rock music, to really get a following, like you have to go slug it out and play live. But I feel so blessed that's kind of helped it keep going, like when everybody's at home, you know.
What are you doing at the moment? What's on the slate at the moment?
I'm working on a couple different records. Like I'm doing another instrumental record. We're gonna like demo out a bunch of it tomorrow. I'm going over to my drummer's house. We're gonna demo a bunch out. So that's been fun. I started a new band during the lockdown, which has been cool. The producer Al, who I mentioned earlier, he introduced me to this singer from Kentucky named Cam Clark, who's like incredible. So he's been coming up. We've been writing and demoing out an album, and we did a live stream on New Year's Day, which was really fun. Like we kind of announced that we were doing the new band and then put it up that night. It was really fun. So the band is Pharaohs, if you want to check it out. So there's no music out yet, but we're going to do that record this year. We've got more than an album written, I'd say. So we're just going to chop it down and try to put that out. I'm hoping it'll come out by the end of the year, but we still have to, you know how it goes, man. It's like,
yeah.
Even you can sit on it for, you know, a lot of times you get it done and you end up sitting on it. But yeah, that's probably my two main things I've been working on right now. I've been doing a lot of sessions too, like on different people's records and stuff, which is fun. I've got a pretty good setup at home now, so it's been cool. Just trying to stay busy, man.
So with your instrumental albums, it's all live, or do you you programming as well?
You know what? When I was writing it, I programmed just to make I like making demos, you know. So I programmed a lot of the stuff just on, like, I'd have the riffs first, and I'd program it just to get the song finished, you know. And then Dylan, who played drums on the album, he'd come over and listen to my program and just go, "Oh my God, dude, what are you doing?" You know, and he'd fix it, you know. So I go, "This is what a drummer would actually do." I'm like, perfect. So then, well, that actually, it ended up helping a lot, because then when we went to record it, it's like, well, he knew the parts so well, he programmed it, you know. So it's like, you know. So, but yeah, it is all live playing. There's some like synthesizers, and there's like some drum, like it's more like percussion, you know, like type of like electronic drums that are on some of the tracks. But yeah, it's all live playing.
So where can people buy your album? Where's the best place to get it?
All the normal places like Spotify and iTunes and Apple and stuff. The vinyl version of the album came out a few months ago, and that's been cool. That's on Bandcamp. So if you just look at my name on Bandcamp, there's a few left. I've sold a lot of them. It's been cool. But yeah, that's all the places you can stream music. It's up.
Okay, great. Well, we'll put all the links up here on this interview. Anyone that makes their living on the road and has fun being out on the road playing guitar or playing an instrument, it's going to be so great to get back out there.
I miss it so much. I miss going to shows too. I'm sure you do as well. It's like, who would have thought that it could, who would have thought it could end up like this? But yeah, everybody's eager to get back out and play and have fun, you know.
And if I don't see you before, hopefully we'll see you at NAMM 2022.
Yes, I hope so. It looks like it's going to happen, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, awesome. Sammy, so great to talk to you.
So nice to meet you, man. Thanks for doing this. It's so nice.
Absolutely.
It means a lot.
You keep up the good work, and I'd encourage anyone and everybody to go to your site and check out your playing. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks for listening to the album, and thanks for having me on. It's cool.
No worries. Thanks, Sammy. See you soon.